Good morning YouTube. Friday the 27th of November, week before Christmas, and we are going to cut some grass today, believe it or not, just with one of the small machines. I've got on the back the ferris 48-inch stander. It's a mulching machine, and I've also got the hat to go with it. Why not? So reason being, in the northeast we've had sort of October, November has been absolutely horrific weather-wise. It's been wet constantly and the ground's never dried up, and it's been warm, so the temperatures have been up. That's the problem. So what we've had is about 7 or 8 days now where we've had very little rain and a little bit of frost. So the plan is, we've got a cemetery and I'm going to cut the big areas with this machine today, because this is probably the only thing I'll get on it. Usually we would run over this with a triple Ransom's 3-cylinder, but today we're going to do it with this, just to take the top off it and just get it down for winter, because people are going to start putting wreaths on the areas soon. So the plan is, I'm going to cut today, I'm going to cut the big areas, and then one of my guys is going to start on Monday and cut the small areas over the graves, because that's the same again. I don't put anything big on at the moment, the way the weather is. So we're going to cut the small areas with the little mulching mowers, which are the Stihl MRB 40p, I believe, just to take the top off these areas again. So I'm on my way to the cemetery now, like I say, a week before December, and we're still mowing grass. Well, I'm saying still, I should say started again, because we did stop early October due to the weather. So I will get you a bit of footage on arrival of the machine, and a little bit of footage while it's cutting. I have cut a bit of grass already this morning, so when you do see the machine you'll notice it's not the cleanest, but the way the conditions are at the moment, it isn't ideal to be cutting grass at the moment. But then if we leave this till March, we'll need a tractor and a hay baler machine, because it is that bad. The grass is still growing like mad. So stay tuned and we shall get you some footage in a little bit. So there's our first machine. As you can see, it's a bit up to the eyes today. It's been on a bit of wet grass this morning, but needed a cut, for a better word. So it will be due a good clean off tonight. It's a 48-inch cut, and it's the Z1 model that you've all seen previous. Powered by a Kawasaki engine, petrol machine, and like I said, it's set for mulch. So this is our cemetery. I think we've had videos of it before, but if you just look, these are the areas I'm going to cut today, and those are the areas my man is going to cut starting Monday with this Stihl. Because if you look at how much the grass has grown, if this was mid-season we would be thrown off the contract for something like this, but it was last cut on 8th of October, so it is 6 or 7 weeks. But if you just look at the length, I mean, it is really strange. Usually frosts knock it back at the end of October and it sits through the winter, but so that's why we're here today, just to take the top off it. So let's get you some footage. that's it. It's never going to look amazing, but we just took the top off it just to tidy it up. So it's a lot better than it was, and the frost will now knock this back. And like I say, the rest of this will get cut next week, just to tidy it up. So that cemetery there, those areas with the ferris, we cut down to 1 3/4 inches. Like I said earlier in the video, we usually triple it with the ransoms, but just wanted to take the top off. Didn't want to go too low. That machine would have easily took a bit more off, but we didn't want to go too low and hack away at it this time of year and make it look horrible with it, like I say, with it being wet. So it is presentable. The frost will then knock it back a little bit more, so that'll control the growth for the rest of the winter now that we're going into December this week or next week. So the machine, the positives, it's a petrol machine, it's good on fuel. Like I say, it's a mulcher, but it still does an amazing job. Even on long grass there, we've took quite a bit off that grass, but it hasn't struggled or anything, and it's wet. You can also alter the machine so it can be re-discharged. I'm not sure, I can't remember if you can side discharge it as well. So that's another option, the flexibility with it. Any downsides? The only downside I can see with the machine after using this now for a couple of months is I had to purchase it. So if people are watching this and ferris sell 50 million machines because of me, hopefully the next one will be free with a bit of luck. But no downsides that I can think of. It's just a really good all-round machine. Like I say, we have got the right as well, which is a little smaller machine. We use that mainly in cemeteries in tighter areas, but for areas like the big areas there where we couldn't get anything on because it's too wet at the moment, then that's the ideal machine. So just moving on to the cemeteries, what we do is we have some packages where we just go and cut the grass in the cemeteries, but the one you've just seen there that actually won a silver medal in 2015 for Britain in Bloom, which you'll see the certificate now. This village had a really good year that year, and we got a gold medal and a silver medal for the cemetery. Just to give you an idea, they judge 50-60 cemeteries in the area, and we were runners up unfortunately to another one, but it's still a great feat for us. It's a good achievement. So like I say, what we do, just coming back to what we do in there, we cut the grass. So through the summer we'll cut it on a 7 to 10 day cycle all summer. So in there you'll be getting maybe 33, 34 cuts a year, plus a couple of extras if it ends up like it has done there. And if it's a mild winter, we might even nip in early next year to cut it again. We also cut the hedges, we look after the shrub areas, we prune the trees, any overhanging trees, and we also clean the paths, edge of the paths once a year with our machine, which I'll get some footage of now that winter's here with our footpath cleaner. And we also carry out the burials, so we actually bury people in there. Now when you're burying, there's 3 depths to burying. There's the 8 foot, 6 foot and 4 foot. So towns that have little space, like Newcastle for instance, they'll sell you a plot of land which is a triple burial. So the first person will be buried at 8 foot, it'll be dug back up when the next person in the family dies, and they'll be buried at 6. Our cemetery up there is basically, after you get down past 4 foot, it is bedrock. It is absolutely solid, and in the early days the guys used to have to break the concrete and rock out. So the council made a decision just to do single burials. So basically we get a little excavator in. In the early days I did used to dig graves by hand. It takes around 3 hours if the ground's reasonable to dig it out, and that, and well, very little time. You can fill a hole back in an hour. But we moved on to excavators for easiness, and we dig them out, and then obviously the procession comes, and then we backfill them, tidy them up and put the turf back on afterwards. But we only do go to 4 foot now, so we'll dig those out, and we're on the 4 foot of the ground's heavy clay, so we also find we don't need shuttering in this cemetery. Some cemeteries where it's soil, once you get below a certain depth, then you need shuttering in just to stop anybody from getting buried in it if it falls in. But we're on heavy clay, so we tend to find once you scrape the walls, it's pretty much like you've got a stone wall there. It is really solid. So that just gives you an idea of, like I say, everything we do in the cemetery. There used to be a few bedding plants in there, but what happened was there's a big rabbit problem and they ate the bedding plants, so we altered for our shrubs. We put lavenders and things in, and they seem to have left them alone. So we still have a nice colourful cemetery in the summer, and like I said, it won awards, so it must tick a lot of boxes. And in the winter we just obviously drop on and tidy the leaves up and just generally have it looking tidy. So by next week, once the remainder of the cemetery's been cut and trimmed round, it will, and we do a little bit of pruning, it will be put to bed for the winter. So hope this video has been helpful to anybody thinking about the ferris, or anybody actually looking into cemetery maintenance, just to give you an idea what some of these contracts entail. And we will catch you on the next video. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.